we're supposed to go right in with it?
Yep.
Okay.
You can put like council reports, you know, it's at the end. No, he doesn't, that should be before.
Got nothing to do on, you got nothing to do on Valentine's?
We just went over it. So I said, stop by, just here, let's go. Just show face.
Yeah, yeah. I saw a great truck in the parking lot. I thought it was him.
Now, on the
What,
side?
the back parking?
On the side?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, I told my wife, like this afternoon, it just started bothering me.
You want something that'll fix it up quick?
No.
No, no pills.
No, I'm fine.
Okay?
Yeah.
There's an exercise you can do. Trust me. I'm old. I know these things.
Yep. Okay. We're gonna begin the meeting. Flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A moment of silence to remember the service and sacrifices of the armed service members who protect our nation and the first responders who protect our neighborhoods. Mayor Jackson.
Yeah, and I'd also like to recognize John Donato passed away on January 31st at the age of 94 years old. He lived in the Hickory section of Mount Hope. He was a lifelong resident of Rockaway Township. He actually graduated Rockaway High School. Sergeant Donato enlisted and proudly served in the Marines in both World War II and the Korean War. He worked for the War Department in Picatinny Arsenal prior to enlistment in the Marines. He was a tool maker and worked in machine shops for 44 years. He was a fireman in Mount Hope Fire Company, number 2, serving in various positions, including company chief in 1961. He's an avid athlete. He was a member in many area baseball leagues, Picatinny Golf Club, Bowling League, Rockaway hockey team, and Rockaway Rams football team, and was included in 1944 championship team. So I'd like to add him also.
Okay, moment of silence. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Freelander,
Here.
Councilwoman Noon,
Here.
Councilmember Brooks,
Here.
Councilmember Sackett,
Here.
Councilmember Rachel Brooks,
Here.
Councilman Salberg,
Here.
Councilman Waltovich.
Watovich, he's not here.
Watovich, he's not here. Councilman Quick, Council Vice President Quick,
Here.
and Council President Fritz.
Here.
Okay.
Notice of this meeting was sent to the Star Ledger and published in the Daily Record on January 12, 2023. Notice was posted on the official bulletin boards of the township website, www.rockawaytownship.org, and notice was filed in the office of the township clerk. Agenda item number 6, approval of minutes. Can I have a motion?
So moved. I'll second it.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Mr. Friedlander?
Yes.
Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
Mrs. Noon?
Yes.
Mr. Sahlberg?
Yes.
Mr. Sackett?
Yes.
Oh, I apologize, council people. Councilwoman Brooks?
Yes.
Councilman Wojtovich?
He's not.
Oh, I didn't see. Vice President Quinn?
Yes.
President Kritz?
Yes, that's 8 yeses, motion passes. Moving on to the open to the public portion. No, we're moving quick, Bob, sorry. What's that?
Yeah, that's, yeah, I just noticed that, yeah. He did it the
Okay, as a reminder, we're asking you to limit comments to 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record when you come up. Michael Alardi.
Hello, Michael Lardy, 19 North Brookside Drive. I just happened to see, just reading the agenda this evening about the facility building. I was going to ask about the water department building in White Meadow Lake, what the scheduling is for that. I don't know if that ordinance is not that, or? Yes, that's what's on here tonight. Is there a schedule for the start of that and stuff? And could White Meadow Lake be made aware of what's the scheduling, is what's going to be going on? Because we do have camp during the summer, but we do have, activities there.
I think it's being rejected tonight, the bid.
Okay.
Bid is being rejected.
So there's no time frame for a start of anything then? That takes care of that. Waste management, the garbage trucks, I know the mayor's witnessed it. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of oil that drips out of that truck at every single time it stops, which means it's dripping while it's driving too. So, I mean, I got the information that they're due to get new trucks in the spring, but meanwhile, for months, they've been dripping oil on every street that they drive on, every day in the town, which leads into the storm drains and into the lakes. The township spent a bunch of money on a watershed project to get information. White Meadow Lake spends tens of thousands of dollars a year to take care of the lake, and now we have waste management dripping oil for years, because I've had pictures of it from a year or two ago that they just ignore. It was brought to their attention from the township, and they ignore it. I mean, if you look at the back door of White Meadow Lake Clubhouse, it's a giant oil slick from when they pick up the 2 dumpsters. It rains, and, it's just oil running down to the street. It's hard to believe that something can't be addressed to make them either stay off our streets, don't collect the garbage, until they fix the leak. As for the watershed report, you guys saw how one lake leads to the stream that leads to the next lake and downstream. White Meadow Lake spends a lot of money to keep our lake usable and safe without getting algae blooms or hazardous algae blooms. And 75% of our phosphorus that is coming down the stream from the Tilcon Pond. So if the township could work with us and work with Tilcon to get them to do something to absorb some of that phosphorus before it comes down the stream into our lake and then continues downstream into the watershed. I mean, it wouldn't be a large outlay of money for them, but, White Meadow Lake spends, a lot of money to do as best we can, but so much of our money is spent on what's coming down from them. So if we could stop it at their point, it wouldn't cost them a lot. We already have the information, what's needed, so they could work with us and not spend any money on what needs to be done. But maybe the township, with that watershed report that you guys have, could go to them and say, they need to do something to start protecting the watershed and not just use that as a construction site. Lastly, still on Tilcon, the rocks that come off those trucks, I mean, I know a lot of it maybe not all Rockaway streets. Like, if you go by Route 80 by the mall, if you ever need stone to do a footing for a mailbox post, don't buy stone. Just go over there and sweep it. Because every time they make a turn, the rocks just pour off those trucks. You could look by Route 80 and all down Mount Hope. It's just stones that come off those trucks. I don't understand how, if any other business basically polluted that way, the township wouldn't stand for it. So I don't know why we stand for it from them. Because then cars kick those rocks up and damage windows or chip paint on cars. So something should be addressed with them. Because, I mean, they were a big part of the town and they're using the roads. Forget about what happens to the ruts in the road that those trucks just destroy. And the speed that they come around Mount Hope. When you come down, whatever it is, by Richard Mine, then down the hill, you look left, you look right, those trucks come around that bend, and the time you look back, they're coming around 45 miles an hour, and, they can't stop. So it just should be watched over there with them. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim Waters.
Jim Waters, 48 Seneca Avenue. Thank you, Council President. I gave a little thought about whether I wanted to say anything tonight. those of you who know me will be surprised by that. Not that I talk a little, but that I gave any thought to anything before I opened my mouth. I was surprised when I learned at the last council meeting that our Board of Assessment member Robin Garcia was the individual who was removed from the Board of Assessment. I've known Robin for a number of years. In fact, I was one of the first people who signed her petition when she ran for mayor a few years ago. And I made a couple of calls when Tucker Kelly went out of his way to have her initially removed from, as a voting citizen of Rockaway Township, and we called the Board of Elections to claim that she didn't live in the township, and it turned out that she does live in the township, and she was reinstated, but nonetheless, that was, I think, a typical act by one of our former council people. I know, as it was mentioned at the last council meeting, that the council president does have the sole discretion to appoint and remove and not renew members of any board that he's responsible for. I'm not arguing that at all. But my point is, the comment that I'm trying to make is, in supporting Robin, is that she's a good resource for the township, and if there's some other way to access her skills, that I think that would go a long way to helping in various areas. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody who did not sign the sheet that wishes to speak? Okay. Moving on, ordinance for introduction. A, O-23-06, an ordinance modifying the code of the Township of Rockaway to revise Chapter 31, small cell installations. Can I have a motion?
So moved. Second that.
Any council discussion? Clerk, please take the roll.
The second was,
Adam. Missed Councilman Sullivan, sorry.
Councilman Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilman Brooks,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noon,
Yes.
Councilman Sahlberg,
Yes.
Councilman Sackett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Brooks,
Yes.
Vice President Quinn,
Yes.
President Kritz.
Yes, that's 8 yeses, motion passes. Ordinance B, O-23-07, ordinance providing for the improvement of Richard Street in and by the Township of Rockaway in the County of Morris, New Jersey, and appropriating $224,785, therefore constituting proceeds of a grant from the New Jersey Department of Transportation. Can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Please take the roll.
Councilman Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilman Brooks,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noon,
Yes.
Councilman Sahlberg,
Yes.
Councilman Sackett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Brooks,
Yes.
Vice President Quinn,
Yes.
President Kritz.
Yes, that's 8 yeses. Motion passes. C, O-23-08, ordinance providing for the site work construction of a new field operations utility facility building in and by the Township of Rockaway in the County of Morris, New Jersey, and appropriating $614,819.17, therefore constituting proceeds of obligations of the township heretofore issued. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, council? Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilman Brooks,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noon,
Yes.
Councilman Sahlberg,
Yes.
Councilman Sackett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Brooks,
Yes.
Vice President Quinn,
Yes.
President Kritz.
Yes, it's 8 yeses, motion passes. Moving on to the consent agenda. A, R-23-44, B, R-23-45, C, R-23-46, D, R-23-47, E, R-23-48, and F, R-23-49. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second that.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilman Brooks,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noon,
Yes.
Councilman Salberg,
Yes.
Councilman Sackett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Brooks,
Yes.
Vice President Quinn,
Yes.
President Kritz.
Yes, that's 8 yeses, agenda passes. Agenda item, it's really 11. These are out of order. 6, 7, 8, 9. This would be agenda item 10. New business and discussion, appointing zoning board of adjustment members, Manuel Diaz, full member, 3-year term expiring 12/20/25, and Jim Sens, alternate member, 2-year term expiring 12/2024. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Friedlander,
No.
Councilman Brooks,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noon,
No.
Councilman Salberg,
Yes.
Councilman Sackett,
No.
Councilwoman Brooks,
No.
Vice President Quinn,
Yes.
President Kritz.
Yes, that's 4 yeses and 4 noes. Motion does not pass. B, Environmental Committee, Mayor's appointment with advice and consent of council, Neil Weiss, 1-year term, expiring 12/23. Can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilman Brooks,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noon,
Yes.
Councilman Salberg,
Yes.
Councilman Sackett,
Sorry. Yes.
Councilwoman Brooks,
Yes.
Vice President Quinn,
Yes.
President Kritz.
Yes, that's 8 yeses, that passes. Moving right along here. We're going to move on to individual reports. Again, I'm going to ask to limit to 5 minutes or less. Councilman Friedlander.
First, happy Valentine's Day, and my gift to all the ladies in the audience. I have no reports until the next meeting.
Good job, Danny. Sorry. Pull up my note here.
First, I want to congratulate the Copeland Middle School boys basketball team, undefeated season, and the Morris County champs, am I correct? I know the girls had a tougher season, they didn't do as great, but I feel that they're going to come back strong next season, and props to Copeland boys. And then all I have is, I just wanted to pub the Challenger 5th Annual Prime Rib Dinner on April 22nd. If I send this over to the mayor, maybe we can get it put out there. But the Challenger program's awesome. Chief McFarland and the team, they do an awesome job, and this is just another way for them to help fundraise. So, hope to see everyone there. That's all I have.
I think first, happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Nothing of note from the Board of Commissioners on their last 2 meetings, but I do want to, again, thank you for recommending me and being appointed to the Morris County Open Space Trust Fund Committee with the Morris County Board of Commissioners. It'll be a 3-year term. Again, I'll be representing Region 4, Rockaway Township. And I'm looking forward to being part of this, again, to continue everything I can to preserve open spaces and do everything I can to serve our area. So appreciate it, and it's an honor. Thank you.
Councilwoman Noon.
Just happy Valentine's Day, everyone, and that's it.
Councilman Brooks.
Happy Valentine's Day, and no further report.
Councilman Sackett.
Thank you, Council President, and just to piggyback off Councilwoman Brooks with the boys' basketball, I went to a lot of games. My son was on that team, and it was great watching the boys and the coaching with Coach Bernstein, and
just a lot of excitement. First championship for them, undefeated season was awesome. And the assistant coach on the team is a senior at Morris Knowles, Peyton Johnson, and I coached him when he was a little kid. So very, very good to see. It was a fun season. Just a reminder with the Fighting for Frank fundraiser, with Zolili Empanadas, with Frank, a junior at Morris Knowles High School. I guess it's turning out into a really big event, and it's Wednesday, February 22nd, 12 to 6, the blood drive, and it was been moved to St. Peter's and Paul Church, 66 Beach Street in Rockaway Township. And hope everyone has a happy Valentine's Day. I took my wife out right before the meeting, so if you didn't take your wife out or your significant other, hopefully we can move the meeting along and take them out after. Have a great Valentine's Day. Thank you.
Council Vice President?
Thank you. I want to wish everybody first, including my wife, who I brought here tonight, for a happy Valentine's Day.
It's just a cheap date.
Well, you know what you got to do, you got to do. Yes, the rec committee is asked all the programs to submit their bylaws to the rec department. They are going to come up with a template to bring all of these bylaws up to current standards. So the committee's anxious to get going on this, and Dave and his staff is working on it, and we'll get that out next. Planning board, the planning board did decide last night. They looked at the ordinance we submitted to them. They have some revisions that they submitted back to us, so that will be coming before us again with the updated version. So that would be a good thing for all of us to see at the next meeting. And Dial-A-Ride had an outing over at Brick 46 they called it a Valentine's Day outing, but it was nice. The guy does a great job over there. His food is fine, so enjoy it. Thank you, and that's the end of my report.
Thanks. Again, to echo about the Copeland boys basketball team, I know speaking to Mr. Ganella, they're going to be purchasing a banner to hang in the gymnasium. PTA is going to be funding commemorative hoodies and sweatshirts for these guys. So I know that they're going to be selling them too. So parents have to pay. Kids get it for free. Listen, there's a lot of sports signups going on right now. So spring is right around the corner. It never really went. We're going to go right from summer to spring. From fall to spring. There's no winter this year, evidently. Lacrosse signups, softball, baseball. I know that a lot of the sports right now are jockeying for position to use the turf, which is great. I love that that's now an option. It's a good problem to have. That's exactly right. But now's the time, get your kids signed up for that. But more importantly, please consider volunteering. I'm a big proponent of volunteering. Get involved with your kids. Do it now. The mayor and I were just speaking about basketball, and I've been a basketball coach now for, I think, 6 or 7 years, and I still don't know anything about basketball. But I'm involved with the kids, and it's just put your money where your mouth is, right? And just give some of your time. Your kids won't forget it, and these leagues need you. So, everybody always has a lot to say about the way that the sports leagues are run. They're all volunteer, right? So they're parents just like us. So please consider volunteering your time. That's all I have. Thank you. Mr. Yashfano?
With one exception, I'll reserve my comments for the closed session. The one exception is I didn't receive chocolates or flowers from you this year.
We had them for you, but you were late.
Okay.
So, wanted to go over a few things. So on the 19th, we attend the Substance Abuse Alliance Committee meeting. On May 31st, they'll be celebrating their 25th anniversary. I think, are you going to go to the breakfast and all, Manny? Or I think we're going to go to they're going to have a breakfast. They're having a big event, a dinner. It's going to be great. 25th, we attended a soccer meeting. A lot of things going on in soccer. Got to meet the new president, spend some time with him. We had a spring sports program meeting, back to what you were saying about having a turf field. I just asked the programs to be patient with us, right? This is our first time having a turf field, and figuring out the scheduling and trying to get time for every program is certainly going to be a challenge. So we're doing our best, but let us get our feet underneath us. On the 31st, Copeland had a family night. It was really great. Spent some time with Mr. Ganella. They had some really good speakers. It was fun. They probably had, 50 or 60 families show up with their children. So it's great to see things like that going on in our community. On the first, day after council president went, I went to KDM and spoke to the third grade class, and got asked some great questions. They were all prepared. They had questions to ask, and they were all excited to have us there. I got to see the new service dog they have up at KDM, and it was just a great time. And the next day, council president brought some gifts up for the kids from the township. We had a police officer retire this past month, so conducted a ceremony for that. They had, I think they called a clap out for him, so we did a proclamation and read it to him. We attended a Birchwood PTA meeting. There's a lot going on in the PTAs all around town. They're raising some money. I think they celebrate 101 days of the school year today. So it was like 101 Dalmatian type thing, so that was pretty cool. We had a Memorial Day parade meeting, so I want to talk about that a little bit. So myself and Mayor Mulligan from the borough have talked about this, and you know what we want to do. So prior to 2019, the township had their own parade. We don't want to lose the tradition of meeting up at the church and the Civil War cemetery. So, but what we are going to do is, and we're going to coordinate it, Jamie Bright and the chief are involved from our side, is the borough is going to do their march they've been doing for the past several years. We're going to do our own march from Fleetwood and start probably by Peterson somewhere and march down to our memorial. With our, and the VFW will have a color guard, we'll have some words at our memorial, and then we'll head over to the Presbyterian Cemetery and join the borough council and mayor, do some speeches there and have the event there. So hopefully we'll pull out some people on Fleetwood, some people around the lake. I think from my understanding, the people at the VFW are excited about it. So just bringing that tradition back to the township, but not losing what we started with the borough and doing more with that. Attended a PTA meeting up in KDM. Dr. Corbett spoke there, talk about, since COVID, some of the challenges with some children, right, in grade school and middle school, and issues they're having coping, getting back into school and being around people again. So it's something the school's really focused on. It was good to hear. For those of you who don't know, on the 11th, a resident at a local senior living facility, Marion Deesh, celebrated her 103rd birthday. She used to live in Rockaway Township, so I thought that was cool. Senator Bucco and Assemblywoman Dunn went and gave her a state assembly resolution, so that was pretty cool. Stopped by the Dial Ride Luncheon. They were all excited. You guys love that place, huh? Burke 46, yeah, good time. So great job by Veronica and all getting people over there. Last night, at the Unico meeting, there were some discussions around, we're looking at possibly doing some type of fundraiser for women's shelters. So we just started the initial planning of it. So more to come on that. We had the planning board meeting last night. We covered some things on that. Today, got out of bed quite early to deliver breakfast up to the road garage here. So that for those in the public, the council and I contributed money. We got breakfast for the road garage, everybody in the Muni building, the police, and tonight after this meeting, we're going to go pick up some pizzas and bring it to the night shift for the police. So try to do something nice for the employees and show our appreciation for what they do for Rockaway Township every day. I already started receiving volunteers for the two committees I created, so that's kind of exciting. So will be more to come on that. I did want to talk about, so two things Mr. Alardi brought up. So waste management, I have reached out to him again. We do need to do something about that. We need to figure out how to hold them accountable. About 2 weeks ago, I did talk to Ms. Seeger about. So number one, it's not just the rocks in the road. Even when they have the street cleaning, they're just sweeping the rocks over the white line. So the people that live there have these rocks right out in front of their house. So two things. I asked Al North to set up a meeting with Tilcon. I want to meet with them personally to talk about it. And number two, I asked the chief to, and they've already taken action, put traffic patrol out there periodically. So number one, to check for the truck speeding, and number two, to make sure they're properly covered, because they're all supposed to be covered coming out. So we are taking action on that, and it's a matter of getting in front of them, but we are enforcing the speeding and are their trucks properly covered. So that's what we're doing for now, but more to come on that. And then lastly, I want to recognize Ace King Cycle and Cargo Transportation in Rockaway. Billy King is the owner and president. Billy is a Rockaway Township resident and graduate of Morris Hills High School. Since graduating, he's kept busy, helping start up 2 transportation companies from the ground. Most recently, he's become the owner and president of Ace King Cycle and Cargo Transport. Having always been passionate about motorcycles, he has owned various bikes of his own. When he's not behind the wheel, Billy can be found on his Ducati or spending time outdoors on his ATV. If you have business inquiries, feel free to reach out to him at 973-306-9142. His email, his website's here. Dave will be posting it on Facebook, so more to come on that, but I want to recognize him, and that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. Ms. Seeger?
Everybody should have received their budget books a week earlier than last year, we're happy to say. Lisa and I and the mayor put that together. And if you have any questions or concerns, please email me so I can get the proper answers. We can still discuss it at the meeting on March 4th, but it would be nice to have all the answers so we can move forward quickly to get the budget approved. And I thank you for, everybody enjoys breakfast today, so it's much appreciated. So thank you.
It's a good point to bring out, but everybody got their budget books, right? So last year's budget hearings went very, very smoothly, and that's because everybody did their diligence beforehand. So I would urge everybody to go through them. I went through it line by line. You guys saw, I sent an email, got a prompt response. So if we do the same thing, we'll have a flawless meeting. Ms. Palmieri.
I have no further comment, except, thank you, I appreciate that. If we could get them ahead of time, I can echo that in sincerity. Thank you.
Mr. Coward.
Nothing this evening.
Ms. Ferrante.
No report, but thank you again from the staff for the bagels and the breakfast.
Mayor was up late last night rolling those bagels.
They were good.
Chief.
One complaint, these are bagels and not donuts. Since last time we met, we had 3 Narcan deployments and 3 successful saves, bringing people back who have overdosed. And 2 nights ago, we had an apartment fire up in Rustic Ridge. The apartment dweller was still inside, and one of our officers went in and was able to get him out with no injury or, any, the apartment was heavily damaged, but no injuries to any officers or first responders, and no injury to the apartment dweller. That's the end of my report.
Mr. Dyer.
Just 3 quick things. We did have the spring meeting you mentioned, and I wanted to thank the mayor. It's amazing how everyone's sports and everything works out well when the mayor's there, and it's really noted. We appreciate it. We had all 4 sports there. Things will settle down. Things will work out. It'll be fine. But thank you, Mayor Jackson, for attending and making this good meeting. Cougar basketball, Cougar softball and baseball is coming. They already reserved P3 and 4 games practices. And I think it's the first game of the dial ride event at 326 was up to the success.
Copeland.
Actually, extra half-hour overtime, they went around and get it all back.
Ms. Johnson works in our tax office, so she is going to give a very brief overview. We have had some concerns about the new valuation, so she's just going to give a brief overview on that.
She's a tax assessor.
That's what I said.
So this is my first council meeting, so thank you for having me here. I just wanted to state that Rockaway Township is a reassessment district when it comes to valuation of properties. What this means is that we undergo a program in order to appraise all real properties in terms of its full market value. So this is bringing all the properties up to 100% of their true value by the same standard. And market value is defined as the price a purchaser is willing but not obligated to buy would pay an owner who is willing but not obligated to sell, taking into consideration all uses to which the property is adapted and might in reason be applied. So each year we perform about 20% of attempted physical inspections, so that at the end of 5 years, the entire town has undergone physical inspections while also reviewing and adjusting the value of homes based on the current market. We place the assessed value at what we believe you could sell your home fairly. Another factor that goes into the increase in assessments is our cost conversion factors that we receive from the state. This is typically 2 to 3% increase in cost of materials of what would be used to reconstruct your home. And this is to determine the value outside of sales comparison. The past couple of years, due to the supply and demand of materials brought on by outside forces such as the pandemic, those cost conversion factors are now between 5 and 10%. And while the assessment increases each year depending on the market, in a reassessment district, our tax rate does decrease each year. The rate that does not typically come out until around July when it's certified by the state. So that's when the third and the fourth quarter taxes are adjusted. If anyone feels that their assessment is inaccurate and that you can't sell your home for what you're currently assessed at, we recommend that you file a tax appeal with the Morris County Board of Taxation. And you would need to provide comparable sales of properties similar to yours that have sold in the pre-tax year. So you would have to prove that you cannot sell your home for what you are currently assessed at.
Okay, thank you. All right, next, we're going to be introducing a resolution to go into a closed session. We will be in the session for no more than 30 minutes. If we approach 30 minutes, we're going to come back and we'll let everybody know. Immediately after the session, we're going to come in here and adjourn anyway. So just giving everybody a heads up. So executive session resolution, R23-50, resolution authorizing an executive closed session in accordance with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act to discuss matters that contain attorney-client privilege. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Please take the roll.
Councilman Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilman Brooks?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noon?
Yes.
Councilman Salberg?
Yes.
Councilman Sackett?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brooks?
Yes.
Vice President Quinn?
Yes.
President Kritz?
Yes, it's 8 yeses. We're going to enter closed session. We'll be back in 30 minutes.
in the fact to make it look like a campground.
Someone's fired. That's in the control of waste.
Krispy Kreme.
I'm glad you said so. What do we just say? That is what's.
What was that?
This is our.
I'm not going in there.
Okay, can I have a motion to come back from the closed session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Thank you.
Farm Brooks. Hey, you better take this before I take it.
Oh, you